Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Valaery Rose Show. I'm your host, Valaery Rose, and today is about to go down because this episode is about a reckoning at 48 the Chingona way. It's a celebration of a true Chingona, this is a Spanish word that means a badass woman, and there's just a lot of people perceive it to be a vulgarity, but us Latinas know that there is so much strength and power and history behind it. And this episode is about a true Chingona who's been on this earth nearly 5 decades. And she's sharing with us today power, grief, womanhood, and what happens when you stop making yourself smaller to keep the peace. This is her comeback, her truth, and her reckoning. She's a family woman, business owner, proud feminist, and nonprofit founder dedicated to providing a platform and a seat at the table for women to flourish, feel safe, and empowered. Building legacy through connection and growth is at the heart of everything she does. Help me welcome Rozalyn Lucero Corona, a.k.a. Roz, a.k.a. the OG Chingona.
Hey.
Welcome, girl. This is long overdue. How are you feeling?
Yes, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling, I think revived is a good word.
Yep.
The word warrior comes to mind and has come to mind in the past few days. So I feel great.
And you are definitely that. So let's kick this off by 5 years of the Chingona community and almost 5 decades of life. What does this moment mean to you?
You know, there's a lot of moments of truth right now in general for myself as an individual, for myself as to where I really want to continue to take this legacy and this journey, which is not going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel an immense amount of proudness. I'm very prideful.
Right.
I'm very, there's a lot of gratitude, but I'm very proud because I've stuck something through that I believe in, that I will continue to believe in till I go down. And I feel very proud. It's going to be a really good ass year. I can't fucking wait.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know it's going to be a really good year. And this season, 2026, how does it feel different from all of the past years? What's a major difference this year?
I'm putting myself first.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I am a leader and the founder of this organization, I have taken the time in the past 3-4 months to really focus on me, my well-being, my mental health. And that is something that I preach, but I haven't practiced as much as I have in the past 4 months.
I love that. It's a new, like you said, feeling revived and being 48 and looking so good. I always tell you that, girl. What would you say are some new things that you're taking on? Like, what does that new sense of revival look like for you? Like standing in your power, what are some new habits that you're taking on, whether it be like physical well-being habits, mental health habits, emotional things? What are some new things that Roz is doing for herself this year?
I've always set boundaries, but boundaries have been set from day one.
Okay. Yeah.
Boundaries are set for the year, and that's kind of been thought out in the sense that I really need to practice what I preach to make sure that I am taking care of the holistic Roz. Yeah. If I can't take care of myself, and again, it's cliche when people say this, you can't take care of others, you really cannot.
Right.
I am definitely removing some drinking. I'm getting back to pre-COVID, which I never drank during the week unless it was like a networking meeting. You know, to me, it's more socially, for parties or celebrations. And I believe moderation is key. I've had moderation in my life before, so it just needs to come back, and that's being practiced. Adding some more working out, because to me, it's just like a kid. The more busy you stay, the more you stay out of trouble.
Right.
And Roz is a human. So the more busy I stay with things that are going to be filling my cup from a standpoint of mental, and that's therapy, filling my cup as far as, activities, which is the gym or different classes, and then obviously the Chingona community.
Absolutely. So much growth going around. And I know that 2025 was a really challenging year for you in so many different ways, which we're definitely going to tap into. And I'm happy to see that you're further focusing on yourself because you're such a strong woman and a strong leader. And as you were going through these things, a lot of us couldn't see that in you. We just saw the warrior that you speak of, the leadership that you speak of, but you're so strong that it's so nice to see that you're being vulnerable, because it can be hard, especially being in the position that you're in of leadership and leading women. But that's a really good example to remind the women that are in the Chingona community, which they all come from different backgrounds of leadership, being staying at home moms, like just working a regular 9 to 5. But it's nice for them to see, in the world to see, like, she's a badass Chingona, she's a leader, but you're also a human, and being vulnerable and going to share a lot of the shit that you've gone through, how you've overcome it, and how you're standing strong today, and how it's going to be pivotal for your future, girl. So let's start off with your growth as a woman and founder in the nonprofit field. So when did the Chingona community start? How has it grown? And what do you see for the Chingona community in 2026?
We started 5 years ago, so right truly before COVID. I set out to do some extra networking. I tell people this story all the time. I did not think in a million years it was going to turn into what it turned into. I thought I'd do some extra networking to make some connections for my own self for work, for others in their businesses. And it's just morphed into an impactful, safe space for women to give not only their time to others, share their resources, share their businesses, share business together, but also make sure that we continue to give back to community.
Absolutely.
And then to make sure that we're growing, again, whether it be healthy living habits, mentally, physically, whatever the case might be, but to keep us moving. So we've really moved from just doing some networking to truly making strides to help women become better.
Right.
Help women become better in their homes, help women to become better in their workplace, help women to be better leaders, help women to see that if she can do it, you can do it, and let's all cheer each other on and do it together.
Yep.
So I truly do think that the organization itself has shifted in a growth of impact, growth of creating collaboration, growth of, like I said, creating a safe space to make sure that we can kind of share the podium.
Right.
I don't think we do enough of that still. For next year, I do see a lot more. I was thinking about this earlier this morning. Not that we weren't credible before, but now we're able to receive sponsorship and receive funding that's going to help us be even more impactful that we weren't seeing 5 years ago. So that's what I'm looking forward to for this year.
I love all of that information, and everything you're saying is true, because I myself have been positively impacted by your presence, the community that you've built. And I believe I've already been a part of the Chingona community like 3 years. And throughout these 3 years, I remember when I first entered the Chingona community, I felt like, fuck, this is like a really cool place to be, because you see so many women that I've seen that they portray themselves as professionals, and they are, but then you learn more about them. Like, they come from the hood. So there's like relatability. They give back to the community, and there's never a sense of pettiness or feeling hate towards each other, where you go into certain environments and you feel like, oh, people are starting shit left and right. You don't feel welcomed. And before getting to the Chingona community, I myself would go to a lot of networking events, and not often did I see too many Latinas. It was, a bunch of mixed races, which is awesome. But when you're with your own people, it feels more welcoming. It's very empowering to see all the Latinas from different walks of life coming together and empowering one another. And through your community, I've built strong relationships with many women that they've come on the podcast, or they've provided opportunities for me. And like you mentioned, it's giving that space for someone to grow, and knowing like, hey, you know what? This might not be for me, but you know what? I know someone who's going to be perfect for this. Yep. And just, as you mentioned, having that ladder and just climbing it up together, instead of like kicking each other down and be like, you can't come with me because of jealousy or competition, which up to this day is common with women. So I love that you've created this space. And let's talk about the disconnect in the industry that you've seen between men and women, and how women aren't treated as equal in a sense within either the nonprofit organization, different collaborations that you've been a part of, or just your career as well.
I've seen several. So first I'll say that one thing that I really pride myself with the Chingona community is that although it's a Latin-derived word, we still include all women, because that's how our reach gets greater.
Right.
And it's funny because the women that really want to help uplift and elevate and pull up. They keep coming around and we just keep getting stronger and stronger.
Absolutely.
And most recently I was in an environment, or actually two scenarios, I should say, that it reminded me that we need that so much because there is still a disconnect with women having an equal level playing field. Example, a couple years ago, which again, this is not privy to many folks, there was a disconnect and I had a difference in opinion as it relates to supporting and donating my time and resources and financial means to a school. I'll just be truthful, to a school. And in the end, the disagreement, we couldn't, see eye to eye, which not everybody agrees, even though it was helping donate to the school, giving time, giving resources. When I say donate, I'm not talking small amounts of money. We're talking a substantial amount of money over several years, because my opinion was very strong about that and helping them grow and raise funds. They didn't like the way in which I portrayed my view.
Okay.
And they asked me to leave the school. And I bring this example up because I was sitting in a room, and I won't forget this day. It wasn't until like the last minute I asked, do you want my husband to be involved? And well, if he can, I'm like, well, it's kind of last minute notice now anyways. So I sat at a table with two men face to face, basically reminded me that they were in charge and that they just thought it was best that we part ways over something that was going to help them. It took so much pride out of me, not to completely lose it in the sense that like fight unfair, go to archdiocese to like file complaints or just the legal ramifications that can come with proving a point. I took it in to sit and reflect and try to understand, Rozalyn, why were you so upset with the whole process, right? Why were you upset with them disagreeing with you? Why were you upset with, or why didn't you speak out, right? But just kind of watch it happen. And at the end, when I looked at the experience and what it did for me, it reminded me that we're still not equal. Yeah. We're still not equal. I had a valid point to help them, and they didn't want to see that, but it was because they didn't want to see that, and it was their way or no way, right? Yeah. So that happened. And it was kind of funny because I had to be a little bit quiet about it at the time. But then I thought, but why? These are examples of when women should speak out and should push the envelope for what they believe in, number one. And number two, push the envelope to remind men that like, no, you still need to listen to what we have to say because we want to do this also with you, right? But still, I felt diminished. I felt belittled. Yeah. And I felt kind of like an idiot. Because my son had to hurt in this process. My family kind of had to hurt, but I had to explain to them why I was so adamant about my point, and it still was a men versus women deal. I don't know. It was really, really interesting. It was an interesting thing to go through that you'd think that those types of barriers don't exist, especially when folks need things, money, monetary, from resources, whatever the resource might be. But when you're monetary resources, everyone needs. Yeah. And especially when it's affecting like youth, I don't know. It was interesting. Very, very interesting.
Wow, that's crazy because it sounds like you contributed so much to them. And despite you contributing, whether it's like time, money, energy, they still chose to make you feel the way that you felt, which is very valid. And I can only imagine how hard that is being in that room, wanting to keep it together, because if you don't keep it together, it's going to add to another thing for them to throw your way. Do you want to share a little bit of like what led to this, or what was the disagreement that they had with you?
That there were certain means of fundraising that they were going to do. Okay. And it was only that, nothing else. Even if other families or folks wanted to contribute, even maybe greater than that, it was just that and that's it. So it was either A or B, and that's it.
And that's crazy because you provided these other opportunities to raise money, which is going to be a win-win all around. But what do you think led them to say no? Do you think it's because they see a powerful woman and she's giving recommendations, but they don't want it to come from you?
Yeah, and my opinion was pretty bold. Okay. They were they remained nameless in my social media.
Yeah.
I won't call it a rant. I'll just say it was a feeling, right?
Yeah.
Because I did feel like, it was, the disconnect was pretty great.
It's an expression of your truth, girl, and what you experience.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah.
And it was that set them over, that I spoke out about it. And again, it was nameless. It was a general expression of, it's challenging when folks don't realize they can do more here with more resources, with folks that actually want to give their time instead of, pay out I'll pay you my $300. I don't want to do anything with the school or with the community, right? Whereas it's totally the opposite. But again, it still exists. It was wild. It was really wild.
Really challenging. Like it sounds really challenging and it sounds pretty fucked up, but I love how you took a step back to reflect on it and be like, okay, how can I grow from this? Why did this shit happen? And look at how this stuff is still happening. So ultimately, you come out on top because did you end up disconnecting with them and like no longer associated, completely cut off?
Yeah, and somebody else is lucky, another woman's lucky to have my resources.
You see, and even then it's like they're only hurting themselves and the people that could have benefit from this. And you did mention it to school. So it's like so many people in play, from like teachers, students to parents, all because they just didn't want to, take your advice or take your help, even though you have been contributing consistent help. And I'm sorry that you went through that, but you have so many other connections, and that was a moment that showed that they're no longer in alignment with what it is that you're trying to do. And they don't deserve your help and your efforts if they're not willing to let you be there to voice yourself and your opinions and all of that stuff. And you did mention your family, that it did end up kind of reaching your family in a sense.
Yeah.
How did they take it with, I guess you could say, like the repercussions of the choice that you made? That wasn't a bad choice, because ultimately you took that choice to stand your ground, stand in your truth, and move forward from it. So how did it affect your family, and how did you guys all move forward from that situation?
I thought my husband was going to kick my ass. He would not do that. But when I kind of got the gist of what I thought was going on, and that's the other thing, as this process was happening and my expression was seen.
No, don't go like this expression. Like if it's not valid, your expression was valid.
To them, it wasn't. To me, it fully was. But when I saw what was happening, I was very black and white with my family. I mean, obviously started with my husband, and I let him know. I said, "Hey," so I kind of think that this might happen, and I was hoping it wouldn't have got to that point, because it affected my son at the end.
Right.
But at the same token, again, it was a life lesson. So. My husband and I talked it through. We were prepared. When it did happen, I was prepared even like 5 steps before I got to that point. But it was my son, at the time he's 11, so this was a few years ago. So let's just say he was going into, I think, 5th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. This was 2 years ago. So I had to really explain it to him that we give to the community, we give back in so many ways, and that we just disagreed, and that change is good. And then I reminded him that no matter what we do in life,
right?
Relationships, schools, careers, there's so many things that change.
Right.
Some of them that we choose the change, or some of them the change just chooses us, and it's just part of life.
Yeah.
And that change is good. And I also reminded him, like, look, now and it's not necessarily his network, but it is. Your friend groups are greater. You're going to meet new people. Yeah. We're going to get to try something new. And I explained that lesson to him in that regard. And that I did let him know that your mom's a really strong-willed woman. And, again, change is good. Yeah. So, yeah.
That is very powerful. And I could only imagine how scared you felt with the potential change to come, because not only did you perceive like one battle with these people over here and cutting them off, but also going home and being like, shit, now I have to break the news to the family. Yeah. And it seems like your husband was supportive and just guiding you through it. So that assumption, we're like, oh shit, what is he going to say? He's going to be upset. I'm so happy to hear that he was like, nah, baby, we good. Like, let's move forward and see what we need to do to get out of the situation and get with the change. Because you're right, things happen that are in our control or out of our control, and the way we get through it is what matters.
And that's why I said nothing about it at the time. At the time, I was I'm like, just put it down as a parking lot, that this stuff still exists, that these challenges still exist. And that's why I feel with the Chingona community in general, all women, we all need to help one another out. That's the way we'll grow. That's the way we will progress. And I love that you shared a little earlier that you felt so welcome. That's how I want every woman to walk into our programs, our events, or our community outreach opportunities, to see it as, for what it's worth. Like, let's all stand united, let's all stand united. Let's do it together. Let's have fun while we're doing it. And oh, by the way, we can create impact and change if we all work together. Yeah.
And you absolutely embody that with yourself and the community that you build, because as you mentioned, you started off with it being a networking. So I already had come around the time where you were providing workshops, and it's not only for the members, it's for the community or interested parties, that you're doing a workshop on like mental health or even like some sort of movement, giving back to the Boys and Girls Club. So it's a really beautiful collective to see not only the help within, like us bringing each other up and putting each other in different positions, but it's also the way that you give back to the community. So I absolutely love that. Now let's talk about your journey, which ties into that gender-powered, going into the corporate world where I know you were at Charlie's. Was there anything that happened there that tied into like a triggering moment that you've experienced from the past with these people, with the whole money situation and all of that, and donation and volunteer time?
Yeah, I was back into a male-dominant environment, which I've been in before. Well, let me take a step back. When I was younger, so at the very, very beginning of my career, I was truly the youngest.
Okay.
So whether or not you're a female or male, it was double dose, right? I was the youngest and I was female. So I dealt with challenges then in the workforce, meaning from folks just thinking that you're pretty so you don't have any brains, or from folks, I was in a sexual harassment situation in my younger career. So I've been in those situations where there was that male dominance over women. But again, we're in 2024, 5, 6, right? We're in a totally different time frame from 25 years ago. So when I entered into this industry, into the produce industry, I knew it was male dominant. But again, you would think some of those barriers are knocked in the sense that there's, level playing field for men and women for, speaking or giving opinion. And I was watching this 25-year-old thing happen again. Not sexual harassment, but from women not being treated the same.
Yep.
From even leaders within our organization saying that after the 8th time she wasn't given a promotion, she finally had enough. And I'm thinking,
my goodness.
But just things like, and so when I was hearing it from others, it's one thing for me to feel it as an individual and just kind of watch, watch that, be in that environment, watch it kind of happen. But if it wasn't really rocking me too much, just don't say anything, do your job and go home. But that was the problem. I was starting to kind of just believe that. But I'm like, again, Rozalyn, what are you doing? You're in an environment that's mentally hurting you.
Right.
You're in an environment where you still aren't treated fairly. And although you're speaking up, they're just kind of like, oh, but that really doesn't matter. I'm like, well, it kind of does, but okay. And finally, for me to open my eyes after my dad passed, which I know that we're going to talk about in a little bit, to see that this wasn't the environment at all for not only me as a woman, for me to progress as a leader, to have any of that kind of compassion in there, especially with a lot of the grief that we were dealing with, but just in general, to watch others not shun what I was saying, but still just be like, oh, but it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay if a man comes in or a male coworker comes in between you and a client discussion and kind of like knocking you down in front of them.
Oh yeah, that's not right.
You just don't do things like that. I'll give a specific example. I had a new client. Credit was set up incorrectly by accounting. Nothing to do with me, but I was hand-holding this client and met him downstairs, got his produce, was waiting with him. We're shooting the shit. Really, really cool. Awesome client. And 2 seconds later, I have a male leader come down and is everything okay? And I'm like, oh, yeah, like, hello, this is client name and that kind of deal. Well, but I understand that we messed up. We did, and it was being very much, it was very evident that he was asking the client how much I fucked up.
Wow.
And I just kind of like looked at him. I thought, are you really doing this? This is a client, clients are always right. And, so the client kind of looked at me, and he even looked at him and said, are you insinuating that she's done something wrong? And I looked at him like, yeah. Well, he's like, everything's fine. So that situation kind of came and went. But again, it's a specific example of something that had happened in that environment where they were used to that. And they thought it was okay. Oh, no, he just has an interesting way of communicating sometimes. I don't think that's communicating.
Yeah.
I don't think that's communicating at all.
Right.
If anything, that again is reminding me what my place is. And that's not my place then.
Exactly. It's not your place, but as you mentioned, that environment was hurting you a lot to the point where you were believing the things that those people were saying. Not that it's a reality because you know who you are, but when there's so much of that shit around you, you kind of start believing it. And then it does end up getting to you. But I'm happy to know that you stood up to them because that's what it takes. Like, it takes someone keeping them accountable or constantly telling them shit, but it gets draining, especially when things don't change. So what was the last straw for you at that company?
What was?
The
last,
a lot.
well, you know what the last straw was? Because I can kind of hear my husband like trying to help me be okay. And even my son's calls would be helpful. But the last straw was me not sleeping for like weeks on end.
Oh, wow.
Driving to work with heart palpitations and like crying and wondering like, what the fuck are you doing, Rozalyn?
Yeah.
You are this strong Chingona woman leading other women. And I don't want to say preaching because that's not, but helping other women, helping us elevate each other. But yet you are falling into this pit hole. And oh, by the way, you're really not feeling good. And you're trying to make yourself believe that, oh, no, Rozalyn, you just need to figure it out. Oh, gosh, no. There were health issues going on.
Right. Yeah. Because it was getting to you mentally, emotionally, and then finally, like you blow up the physical that your body already knows. Going into that environment, my nervous system doesn't feel calm. Like,
no.
I know there's going to be some shit today, so I got to prepare myself mentally and emotionally, or I know what's going to potentially happen. But that's all a part of being human. And it's not that you made a mistake because you went into that company for whatever reason, whether it's because like you needed to work, you wanted to gain experience there. So it's a part of your journey and a learning lesson. And I think you did really good, and especially standing up to them. And where do you stand with those people now? Like when you left the company that you were at, did you voice to them certain things before leaving? Or did you just kind of be like, you know what, that's it? Like, you checked them in a sense and left, or how did that end up going about? I
think it was pretty eloquent and professional in the sense that, to me, less is more.
Yeah.
So, I voice my opinion in a letter way? Of course I did. An eloquent, professional way to just say, here's some suggestion for change for you all for later, and disagree or agree. I mean, everyone can agree to disagree. I think the eloquent thing was just to exit kind of silently.
Right.
And exit silently for my own peace. That's
good.
Yeah.
You did what you had to do.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a learning and a growing moment. And you mentioned your dad. So you lost your dad during the time you were like working here or about to leave here?
Actually, like was like my first, oh my gosh, April to September. So what is that? First 9 months, maybe 10 months. Yeah. So in that first stint, that's when my dad passed. My dad passed we just celebrated a year. So, well, it was 2025 was a year. It was September 21st, 2024. So that's the other thing. Being a leader and being strong in front of all the Chingona women, it excites me. It's my passion.
Right.
But all of this stuff happened like in 3 years. Like it was so heavy. And my dad's was definitely the heaviest.
Right.
But I also didn't give myself the grace that I needed to really just take the time to like be away. My combating sometimes is, we'll just, continue to kind of move, and not to move without purpose. I always move with purpose. I don't do anything that I don't want to do. but I didn't take the time for me. And it really wasn't until this last 4 months that I have put my foot down, like, oh gosh, no, went back to therapy, did things that are really, really important for Rozalyn to sustain as Rozalyn, you know, not just, you know, leader, mother, wife, you know, employee, whatever the case might be. But yeah, no, my dad's passing and my dad getting sick happened in the middle of all that. Do I think I got some compassion? Of course, but the compassion came and went. Like, it's just like having a baby. It's kind of like this. These are the same scenarios that we go through as women. Like once you're done with maternity leave, like you go back. You know, like you gotta
go back to
doing what you were doing before. And if you don't do it the same or better, then you know you might get canned or you might get looked at differently. It's the same kind of deal with, in my personal opinion, now going through it with the grief process. Once you bury them, like you're supposed to kind of be not done, but done. You know, we didn't bury my dad. My dad was cremated, but we didn't physically bury him until his year anniversary. And it was at his year anniversary that I finally was, enough is a fucking enough, dude, from everyone. From being belittled by leaders that I don't, you know, it's okay to disagree with them. And guess what? That it was empowering. But also being in a work environment that was slowly killing me. And it's not needed. It's just not needed to feel that way. So for me to take the time back for me and my mental state was so important.
Which I'm glad you did that, because it sounds like your grief was like delayed because of life circumstances or other people's input. And grief, as you mentioned, just because you put someone down in the ground doesn't mean it's done and over with. There's so many experiences that you're going to have, like first Christmas without dad, first birthday, and all these different events. And sometimes it might not even go away, but then you learn how to honor your dad, love those memories, relive those memories, and take care of yourself. And it seems like when this happened, when your dad passed away, you had like some sort of revelation of like, okay, things need to change, and I'm starting to feel all these things, and it's time for a new Roz, because it opened up a can of not only emotions to what happened with your dad, but all of the other things in life. And it's really nice to see that you're taking care of yourself, because as a leader, as strong as we want to be, life happens to all of us. And I love that even you voiced that, because I know at one point I noticed on social media too, I'm like, shit, where's all the Chingona community posts? But then you had started sharing like, you know what, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on my family. And that's what a leader does too. You know, it's not like you completely ghosted. And even if you did, you need to do what you got to do to step back for your own well-being, to then come back even stronger.
Took the time to show others or remind others about from resiliency to not giving up, to trying new things, to just helping give guidance from afar. Maybe not face forward, but from afar. But still the same guidance.
Absolutely. And it seems like you're already a very wise woman, but through this grief process, you've gained some weight to hold and to learn how to work through, but you've also gained so much wisdom. And I'm sure your dad is looking down on you, proud of the woman that you are, and going through this grieving process. What would you say were like some major tools to really help you go through it? I know you mentioned your granddaughter a lot too. Like, she has been a very, like, a force and a cute little human that has helped you get through the grieving of your dad's passing.
I actually, you probably answered the question for me, because I was going to think of what tools. My husband's not a tool, but my husband's been helpful. I guess they can be sometimes. But no, between my immediate six, meaning my kids, my husband, and my granddaughter. My granddaughter is the icing on the cake, in the sense that it was so, and that's the other thing. Folks didn't know I was dealing with other stuff. I didn't know that didn't know we were going to be grandparents. We didn't know. I was trying to help out a young single mother, and guess what? She's almost the same identical age as me, the same scenario. And then I at least I was able to give her the wisdom. But through that birth of my granddaughter, 28 hours after my dad died, probably saved my life, in the sense that there's so many things. You know, they say that you could be addicted to things, and it doesn't need to be drugs or alcohol. It could be the gym, it could be music, concerts, clothes, whatever the hell it might be. But I got addicted to my granddaughter and praise God for that. I got addicted to making sure that my daughter knows that that we support her, which I know she knows that.
Yeah.
But, don't worry about what the opinions of others and what they think. Like, let's just move on. Like, finish school. This baby is so cute.
Yeah.
She's even added legacy to me and what I want to do.
She's already been on the news, girl.
She's been on the news, yes. And I threatened my daughters. I'm like, if you guys don't step it up, she's going to get everything. Right. Yeah, so, but yeah, she has definitely been a part of the reckoning and the revival for me and my soul, and to know that death we always know death. We know everyone's going to die. Yeah. But that did make it so much more healthy for me that I had another outlet to give my time and my energy and my excitement and drag along with me and, show her the Chingona ropes from the birth,
Absolutely.
From the womb. So, yeah.
And aside from your granddaughter, you did mention therapy. is therapy something that you grew up with and you consistently do for yourself, or has it just been recent with your dad's passing, and how has that helped you?
Been in therapy since I was probably 13, 13 to 15, when my mom had to try to reel me in. Yeah. My mom and I did mother-daughter therapy, which I'm so thankful for, because at the time I was such a bitch, probably sat there and didn't say anything. I was like, my mom's making me go. Yeah. To today, I completely believe in it. I've been in therapy off and on since then, maybe 4 or 5 times since the time I was 13, 15-ish, but only when I've needed it. Not to say that you don't need it all the time, but I took this time after I was seeing that the whole male dominance industry wasn't working for me. Right. Needing to dig deep into Roz and what I need for me. That was definitely something that I was like, I want to go back. I actually found my old therapist, which I was like so excited.
Is this your therapist from childhood when you?
No. Oh gosh, no. I
was like, dang, I was like, you're loyal.
No. This would have been because I did couples therapy before too. This would have been a therapist that I probably got hooked up with when I was a single mom with Samantha. Okay. So I probably found her when I was like, Samantha was born like, I don't know, my early 20s. So yeah, no, I had sought her out and found her around then, stopped going, went again in, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, and then found her. Yes, I probably have went with her for at least 10, 15 years.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. Now she has got her own practice and stuff. And
she sees a lot of your different life transitions.
Shit, I don't know what she remembers from then, but God, I hope that I'm better than what I was.
I'm sure you are. It's nice to see that the therapy has been instilled in you, because I'm sure in a lot of Latino households, therapy and mental health isn't really normalized. If anything, it's like, stay away from that. It's like, if you have to go to that, it's because you're crazy. But
you're a problem.
You're a problem, or keep the emotions in-house or the problems in-house. But we all know that ends up building up to something that's not good, and eventually we blow up. Just like you felt it in the workplace, and your physical body was already telling you, like, girl, you got to go. Yeah. Girl, you got to do something different, because it's starting to affect you. So I love that it's normalized, because you're showing these habits to not only your husband, but your kids as well, and showing them like it's okay to seek help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help, because sometimes we just need that one person or that one guidance to teach us another way, or to validate what it is that we're going through. So I love that therapy is something that keeps you grounded in your life, and it's really great.
It is. It's amazing. And my daughters have been through therapy. I'm praying for my little one. I'm like, just take the time for you, and I think that it'll come back around, because they've already know that it's accepted. Right. And it should, to me, I think everyone, I don't care what culture you are, break that barrier down. Do your research though. I mean, do your research for someone that's going to work with you. Right. From age to, maybe it's a male or female, whatever the case might be, everyone's different. Yeah. So make sure that you're taking that to an account. But gosh, no, I'm actually headed to therapy right when I leave.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that. So I've got to make sure you leave on time. What would you say are some key takeaways that therapy has helped you with, or like new habits or new ways of thinking? What are some positives that you've taken away from therapy?
I think it's like confession and somebody, and
having that safe space.
Yeah, I think I don't want to speak derogatory about confession or therapy or saying that they're the same thing. They're not, but they are, in the sense that it's a relief.
Right.
It feels good to get things off your chest and actually move on from them. So I think that that's one thing that it's put in perspective. The other thing is, it's, like you said, validating certain behaviors that I was doing that I thought were helpful, but they're really not. And I'm like, well, and so it's kind of like a little bit slapping me into shape, or things that, if she questions me, or if she questions me on something, it makes me think about, like, why are you doing that?
Right.
Like, why don't you try it this way? Or why don't you say this? And I think the other thing is, it's just my alone time outside of the gym.
Right.
There's only so much like therapy I can do at the gym. If anything, I work at the gym. When I'm on the treadmill, I'm doing my emails. I'm getting ready for the day. I'm not sitting there and doing nothing.
Right. You're hearing music. So you're like pulled in these different directions versus like when you're doing therapy or some sort of meditation or breath work, you're literally just there being present and being your natural, authentic self, ready to let it all out. You know?
Yes. And it's just, again, it's such a short amount of quiet time.
Yeah.
That's it. And I even love my drives over to therapy, because I feel like that is a time for me to start my own self-reflection. Like, what am I feeling good about? What am I feeling bad about? And like just the drive in and drive out. And then the drive out, usually I'm like, oh, it's so great. Like, I mean, it's just
you
like,
feel like a weight lifted off of your shoulders. Yeah, I love that.
Fill up my tank. Like,
I love it.
Yeah.
And you did bring up alcohol earlier. So I know you love your wine. You're a wine girly.
Yes.
So based off of social media, it never seemed like there was ever like an excessive amount or anything like that. So how would you say that played a role into the passing of your dad? Would you say that it kind of like spiked you drinking a little bit more?
COVID.
Okay.
I blame everything on COVID. Just like a kid again. If they're not in sports or not in extracurricular activities, you've got too much time. You're at home. I was so stressed during COVID. I was the only one that had to stay home with 3 different kids going to 3 different grade levels: kindergarten, 8th grade, and college. Yeah. And it was the worst thing ever. And then I was scared that everyone was going to die. I thought I was going to die. I remember calling my mom and dad with gloves on and masks. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's the fear that they instilled in us at that time.
I'm going to die. I'm like, that's it. And even my poor dad, my dad's like, Roz. And then I called them crying one day, and my dad's like, you're not going to die, Rozalyn. And I'm like, but I feel like that everyone's dying. Like, so the time, the stress, COVID really screwed everything. COVID just messed up so much fucking shit. Yeah. And with me keeping the Chingona community alive through Instagram, that was helping me. But the only people that would know my struggles would be my house. Right. The 6, that was the only people that would know those struggles and those deep struggles. And I was very vulnerable and shared a story at our first inaugural awards 5 years ago. And now I cut hard alcohol several years ago. I'm going to say probably almost 1 or 2. Let's just say 1 to 2, okay? Because I don't know when, but I've definitely cut that. My wine I will not give up is all moderation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a wine label project coming, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, I know. I was like, let's tap into that. I feel like all of these different projects that you've been doing, it's like your creativeness, but it's also a way for you to heal and work on things. So I feel like you've definitely been giving yourself a lot of grace. You're doing the work and you're doing what you need to do to get yourself to a place where you feel grounded and healing yourself, and you're filling up your cup. You're overflowing with joy, which means you're going to be able to come back stronger, and you are coming back stronger and pouring into everyone else. So I've seen a couple of different brands like the Chingona Collective, the Chingona Vine, and then the Chingona Community. So elaborate on those and anything else extra. Yeah, no. So Chingona Community obviously is my baby nonprofit. I'll never not give back to community. My granddaughter's been involved now. My girls have been involved, and this is something that I thrive on forever till I go down. Till I go down, the nonprofit will never lose its piece of my heart and piece of Roz. The enterprise or some of the businesses that have been built, the Chingona Collective, we're just about ready to open. It's going to be a salon. So I'm super excited about that. So be on the lookout for a ribbon cutting. It'll be located in the city of Santa Fe Springs. We are looking for stylists. So it's co-ed. We'll look for 5 to 6 stylists. So that is its own independent business. Chingona Vine is my consulting company. Praise goodness, I started this 3 years ago. I've taken on several different side hustles
from sales projects to marketing projects to training projects. And that is my baby in the sense that that's added revenue for Rozalyn to do other investments.
Yeah.
And then through Chingona Vine, I'm working on a collaboration of a wine that will be hopefully launched in the next month.
Okay.
As far as our wines, if you guys take a look, I'll make sure that we'll put some of this information. But the intent is that we'll be collaborating Chingona Vine and the wine.
Okay.
But all proceeds we're going to go back to the nonprofit.
Oh, nice.
So, or I should say,
it's all tied in somehow, some way.
I should say donations from these sales will go to the nonprofit because at the end of the day, that is my baby, and to sustain, I need to make sure that we're taken care of. But these extra projects, not only are they fun, it's just exciting to watch. And my hope is that I'll give this entrepreneurial spirit to my kids in some way, shape, or form for them to do something that they really, really love. So
absolutely. You definitely have a lot going on. And aside from all of your amazing businesses, I know you have some dates you want to share.
Yes.
Specific dates.
Yes.
So let's talk about those dates, what's going on those dates. And I'll make sure to plug like everything in the YouTube description so they can like just continuously follow up.
Yep. So first meeting of the year for the Chingona community, February 19th, 6 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
We're going to have a panel. We're going to talk finance or do some networking, and I cannot wait. So that'll be the details as far as location will be out here in the next couple of weeks. And then June 20th, we just launched this morning our the announcement, I should say.
Oh, I haven't checked, but I know you said you've been like posting over the last couple of days, like something's coming on Monday.
Yep.
Okay, that's going to be what you're talking about right now.
June 20th, 6 p.m., the Grammy Museum. We're hosting our 5th annual Chingona Community Awards.
Nice.
The award recipients have not been notified yet. They will be in the next 30 days.
Okay.
And then we'll launch the scholarship April 1st. So be on the lookout for that. But I'm really, really excited about that. I can't believe our 5th year. The amount of exposure and growth and love that we've gotten from other organizations, big organizations. I just cannot wait to show the fruition.
Yep.
And then our impact report will be launched this Friday.
Oh, nice.
So online, the impact that we created and sustained and grew for 2025, our impact report will be out. And there's somebody very special in that impact report that I can't wait to also highlight. I'm hoping that she'll be a part of our awards on June 20th. So
that sounds super exciting. Lots of good stuff. Any other stuff going on this year?
Outside of the collaborations, and the awards, and the Youth Day was going to come back.
Yep.
So Youth Day, unfortunately, due to administration and due to everything that was going on with the ICE raids and all that unfortunate happenings, had us postponed. So our Youth Day will be back this year, which I'm super excited about. We have so many folks on deck to help, from panelists to actual breakout workshops, and we will be hosting it at the Boys and Girls Club again in October.
Okay, so that's good to know. Awesome. And I know even like when it's the holiday time, you do like different food drives and toy drives. So if anyone wants to keep up, make sure to follow the Instagram page. That's where most of the updates will be, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Instagram page and our Facebook page.
And Facebook as well.
Community.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing all of that information. We're almost getting to the end here, but I like to do something that's called Elevate in 60. So I ask you 3 questions and then you answer each one in less than a minute. That's the goal with it. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So I'm going to change the first question because it's what's in store for the Chingona community in 2026. And I know you already covered that and all the awesome things that are going to happen for this year. What is your favorite color and why?
Ooh, blue. I don't know why. And actually,
is it because of the Dodgers?
Well, I was going to say it's because of Snoop Dogg and the Dodgers. It's both of them. I don't know. Crip blue and Dodger blue, Pantone.
You said Crip blue. I'm like, gangster with it, girl.
I don't. It's funny that you asked that question. I'll try to do this in 60. I thought about that recently about favorite colors because my colors have changed. So I don't know what blue means. I just love blue. I love the color blue.
There you go. Hey, something inside of you, just like your soul's attracted to. Your phone's blue.
Yes.
Your notebook's blue. Oh my goodness, everything's blue. I love it. Number 2, what do you have to say to those people who think the Chingona community is a gangster brand because of the old English lettering?
Oh, I just had to chuckle. The logo I made with my dad. I told my dad, I go, Dad, I want something real bold. I said, I envision old English with something really clean. And my dad gave me 9 logos and we both picked the same one, which is the logo on my shirt today. The Old English, I don't think represents anything but being united, bold, and badass.
Ooh, I love that. Damn, good answer, girl. And number 3, one thing people can do to strengthen their relationship with their partner. And I ask you this because I know you've been with your partner for so long and him seeing the challenges that you've gone through. And I'm sure like just experiencing life overall, what would you say is something that strengthens one's relationship with their partner?
We spent a lot of time together. And I even made jokes. He was going back today from like a 2 and some week vacation. I said, well, can't you call in sick today? I go, this is odd. I go, usually I want you guys out of my hair.
Yeah.
But we spend a lot of intentional time together. Not that folks do, but we plan things. I know my husband's very much, if I get on him about not doing spontaneous stuff, well, I don't know your calendar. I'm like, well, just put something on.
Yeah. And you're like, you just tell me.
Yeah. So I think we're very intentional with the time that we spend together. We take these really quick trips very often, and we know when we need a reset. And I think that's what keeps us really strong and kind of going together.
I love that. And everything you've already mentioned, it ties in with your revival. And I love that you chose that word because it's not like you're reinventing yourself. You've always had that glow and that light in you, but because of life circumstances and revelations and eye-opening moments, you're just like lighting on fire more than ever. And something that I was reminded of is you posted something going on a beautiful vacation with your husband and you're like, damn, like we really needed this. We need to do this more often. And, just getting away from everything and spending time with that person that you love so much, aside from you, like you loving yourself and fueling yourself with all of these things. So I'm excited for what's to come.
Thank you.
This year for you. Yeah, you're very welcome. And before we close, I know we mentioned something like the Chingona promise. So if a woman is listening and feels silenced or minimized, what do you want her to hear right now?
Go against the grain. I go with what you believe. Go with your gut. Go against the grain. Go. I personally believe this. We're not here to be liked.
Yeah.
We're really not. And my goal is never to have everyone like me, but my goal is to help.
Right.
And my goal is to make sure that my help is my voice. Mm-hmm. My help is standing up for what I believe in. And I don't think that's ever going to change.
I love that. That is very strong. And what promise are you making to yourself moving forward?
Well, I always go with my gut. I was going to say that's moving forward. But I think the promise that I'm going to make to myself is just to remind myself that I'm badass every day. To remind myself, I know I feel resilient, but sometimes we need to tell each other that. And actually, I talk to myself a lot more than I ever have. Like, girl, you got this. Come on, Roz, shake it off. So just reminding myself that I'm badass. And I think we all need to remind ourselves that every single day that we wake up. Be thankful, show gratitude that we woke up, and remind yourself who you are.
Absolutely. I love that. Now, before we close out, are there any final messages that you want to look the audience in the eye and give them?
Oh my gosh. I have a final one, and I thought of this in the car. This is very intentional. My final message or note is, Snoop Dogg, we're looking for you. We have been collaborating with Snoop Dogg's clothing store for the past 3 years and done amazing, from a Women's Month celebration to a collab with a shirt, to a book bag giveaway. We supported them with a canned food drive and a toy drive this year. And I'm looking for you to help us raise that platform even greater. At the end of the day, I think that's what these women, or that's what us women need, is others to share information about us. And I'm looking to do something with him for the Olympics. And I'm put in the orbit. I'm looking to do a Chingona collab for the Olympics, get all the Chingona women that are competing for the USA, and make sure that they are reminded how bad they are and how badass they are. And I know that that's a voice that we're looking for. So Snoop Dogg, I'm looking for you.
Oh, I love that. We got to tag him once this YouTube video comes out. And on Instagram, we got to blast him everywhere on our page. And may that dream and goal be fulfilled. I feel like one day you've been collaborating with that brand so much. I see you representing the gear from that cool bag that you have. Your shoes. There you go. You've been a real one, a real Crip one. That's why you love blue too. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here. You're a very awesome individual, and I look forward to your continued growth. You've definitely been a mentor for me and seeing the things that you've been doing within your community. And I'm always forever grateful because, as I mentioned, up to this day, there's women that I've stayed connected with, like Audrey Campos and Misty Maple, that have been very collaborative and loving and just always trying to find a place for me to be. And it all really stemmed from being in your community that really branched out so many different opportunities. So I appreciate you, girl. I have love for you. And that's pretty much going to be it for today. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the video, send it to Snoop Dogg. Help us blow this up. And you're going to see all of her information in the YouTube description box, like website, social media platforms, and all of the up-to-date goodies are going to be on the Chingona community, Instagram, Facebook, and Instagram and Facebook. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send her a DM, and we'll see you in the next video.